Why avoid trends in a mid-century kitchen update? Well, what's trendy today is tired in a few years and hopelessly out of date in 10. This is especially true for a mid-century home. There's always going to be pressure to choose what's popular right now. What about the resale value, your helpful advisors will anxiously wonder. But in truth, making a timeless choice is always a better bet than a trendy one. Hi, I'm Della Hansman. I'm an architect, and I specialize in helping mid-century homeowners plan timeless remodels. And here's the truth. Trendy and timeless are opposites. You always want to make a choice that will last, and the best way to do that is to reach back to the era of your home's original construction. That doesn't necessarily mean you're trying to live in a time capsule, but it does mean you want to plan a remodel that doesn't come with an expiration date. Here are 2 more reasons to avoid trends. First, what you like personally is always more important than what's on trend right now. Your home is for you, and so you should be making choices that meet your taste, your preferences, your maintenance style. What you want to do in your house is going to be dependent on you, your family, your pets, and the way you live in your house. It can be scary to decide what you personally like. A lot of people have learned not to trust their own taste. They feel like they don't have a good sense of design. At the end of the day, things you actually prefer are always going to last better with you than choices you make because they're what's popular right now. The other thing that's really important to remember is that what your house is always more important than what's on trend. That doesn't mean your options are limited. Within the term mid-century, you've got a lot of room to play around. You could go mid-century traditional and hit the Americana of the early 1940s with white painted rail fences and wrought iron hammered doorbells, house numbers, and mailboxes. Or you could go organic neutral, sort of Frank Lloyd Wright inspired, with a lot of stone, brick, terracotta tile, and wood. You could lean into the California modern with breezy open plan and a lot of glass, or hard minimalism if that's what makes you feel clean and prepared for life. But no matter how much time, money, and effort you spend, you're never going to turn a mid-century ranch house into a cottage. You're certainly never going to turn it into a Tuscan villa. I see you, 1995. And it's never going to become a modern farmhouse. It'll always reside in that uncanny valley of, it doesn't look the same on the outside than the in. Something is not right about this space. You're always better leaning into the original style of your house, whether you're turning the clock back in a time capsule or using the materials and the ethos of the mid-century era to create an updated look. Keep those design details in mind for a remodel that will last. Leaning into trendy choices nearly always leads to remodeler's remorse. I experience this so much as a design professional who focuses on mid-century houses. I'm constantly hearing stories of people who regret their own choices. Literally this morning, I met a new person in my Instagram DMs who told me the story of how they bought their house in 2019, knew it needed some maintenance work, and cheerfully farmhoused the entire thing. Then they learned the term mid-century modern, and now they're rolling back their own choices one by one. I also had a conversation earlier this very week. This is how common these things are with someone who painted their own brick right after they bought their house and now would get anything to make that choice not true. But just like you can't unring a bell, you can't really unpaint brick. They're stuck with that choice. One way or another, whether you're undoing your own previous choices or you're fighting the decisions of a previous homeowner, it's going to be expensive and take you a lot of time and effort to roll back trendy choices. So it's easier to just make timeless ones in the first place. That's not to say you can never engage with a fun trend, but there are better and worse ways to do it. For example, it's easy to choose a paint color, a piece of furnishing, fabric, wallpaper, to choose hardware or fixtures, accessories that lean into a current trend, something that can be changed without having to call a contractor to change it all over again. Pieces of your house that are built in should be made in the most timeless way possible. And if you have any original materials in your house, surfaces like brick, stone, wood, concrete, these things should remain in the state that they are, if at all possible. Don't be the first person to paint your brick, wood, or stone. Please, your future self will thank you. That said, if a round mirror over your bathroom vanity makes you happy, absolutely do it. Keep it forever and continue to be made happy by its cheerful round shape, or change it out for a different mirror when we've gotten far enough past that trendy moment for it not to seem fun anymore. One way or another, it's important to lean into the timeless elements of your house, its original design DNA, the materials of the mid-century era, if not actually the shapes and language of it. You can choose things for your house that are going to feel like they've always been a part of it, or they always should have been. One way or another, if you make a too trendy choice, you'll regret it or the next person will. So let's not do that. If all of this is true, why are people making trendy choices in the first place? Well, because literally everyone, every expert you consult, and every source on the internet may be advising you to do so. There's a reason why so much brick is painted white. It's because every example of a before and after picture on the internet shows white painted brick right now. But that has more to do with the fact that it's a big change, that the before-after photo is dramatic and exciting for the person who's showing it, and that white shows up well in Instagram and social media video content, and much less to do with the fact that it'll feel well, age well, and be easy to maintain over time. We lean into popular choices for our homes because, to an American family, a house is more than just your home, your respite, your identity. It's also one of the most expensive purchases you'll ever make, and a remodel can come in right second after purchasing the house itself. To own a house is part of the wealth strategy of an American family, and this has been true since the mid-century houses were being built en masse after World War II. But that can cause us to be overcautious. It can cause us to feel like we need to lean into what everyone else is doing, take advice from other people rather than trusting our own instincts because we want to be as risk-averse as possible. But at the end of the day, your specific choices are more important to your home than doing something that's popular for a hypothetical person in resale value. To give an example of this, common wisdom says that every house needs a tub, and that it's very hard to sell a house that doesn't have a tub because a young family with children would absolutely need to have a tub in the house to wash their toddlers. That said, I can think of at least 5 of my last 10 master plan design clients who have asked me to remove the tub or asked if they're allowed to remove their tub because they don't bathe and they prefer a walk-in shower. They're thinking about aging in place, long-term accessibility, slim, open design, and making the most of a small bathroom. If 5 out of 10 people who are remodeling their houses want to remove a tub, the odds are that the next person who's buying a house will probably be drawn to its gorgeous zero-step whirl-in shower, and they will not mind that there's not a tub in the house. If it really drives them nuts, they can remodel the house and put a tub in. But I urge you to make choices that lean in to your own preferences, assuming that someone else will probably have similar preferences to yours, and also to avoid trendy choices and lead into what makes your house great. It's mid-century DNA, and if it's a relatively modest mid-century house, to making it a more dramatic, better, more mid-century house than it ever was, in the hope that the next person that finds it will buy it exactly for those qualities, for that mid-century character that it had originally and that you have improved in your remodel. Kitchens in particular are vulnerable to trendy choices. It's so easy to find listicles and HGTV shows of everybody doing the exact same thing in their kitchens. The latest trend is slim shaker cabinets. A few years ago, all of my clients were asking. A few years ago, every client showed me a shaker cabinet and asked if this wasn't a mid-century choice. Now I'm actually having people send me the slim shaker and ask me if this is the mid-century style shaker cabinet door. It's not. It's simply the latest trend right now. If you truly love the slim shaker cabinet style, by all means, choose it for yourself. But it's going to look 2025 to future eyes. Let me set you up with my free guide, The Essentials of a Mid-Mod Kitchen Update. It's linked here below this video, and it'll walk you through the essential elements to think about in a kitchen, not only to make it as timeless as possible, but also to tailor it for your house, your household, your family, and the way you want to live your life in your home. At the end of the day, trendy choices lead to remodeler's remorse, and I don't want that for you or your house. Let's talk about how to make timeless choices for your house going forward.